How do you feel has social media impacted, let's say, bodybuilding specifically? What's up, guys? This is Joaquin Pistokache. We're here in Mercedes, Texas at the Grind Gym, and I'm here with Jason Martinez. Jason Martinez is the one and only IFBB Pro Classic Physique bodybuilder. And as many of you guys know, Jason, I had the opportunity to work with Jason earlier this year in me preparing for my first men's physique show. And I'm here with Jason, and I'm really excited because we got some time to talk to Jason a little bit about what he does, a little bit about his upcoming shows, and a little bit about his training that he does with clients in regards to helping them get results, either preparing for shows or helping them get amazing transformations. Jason, go ahead and introduce yourself, man. You know.
What's up, guys? My name is Jason Martinez. Like he was saying, I'm the first IFBB and only, as of right now, pro bodybuilder here in the RGV 956 Valley. I received my card 2016 at the North Americans. I've been bodybuilding, since about early 2000s to about 2007. Took a 7-year break and came back 2014. Hired my coach and started 2015. We did 3 shows. I got my pro card with 3 shows. So.
One of the things I want to ask you, Jason, is from what I have seen, and the bodybuilding industry is something that I'm fairly new to. It's not my background, and that's part of the reason why I reached out to you, because I wanted to seek someone who one, loves bodybuilding, and most importantly is actually still competing, is in the game, because that's so important to me that mentally and physically they're still there, they're still grinding it out. So it's a totally different vibe. But what is, when you first got into bodybuilding and the whole fitness industry, what was it that drove you? What attracted you? What made you want to become a bodybuilder?
I guess it's one of those stories where it was more of a transformation for myself. I used to be a really skinny kid in high school, and I started doing the weight training after I graduated. You know, I wasn't into sports. I did play baseball a little bit, but I wasn't into that many sports. You know, I was more of the band geek, a drummer, and stuff like that. So I started hitting the weights after high school. Kind of got into that rhythm, and I started noticing little cuts here and there. And, you know, I was like, oh, you know, and I started picking up Flex magazine, Muscle Fitness. Started reading about training and nutrition, and kind of little by little my body started changing, you know, and I was, you know, in awe with it. I was kind of fascinated with it. And there was a local show at the time. It was the Rio Classic here locally in McAllen. They hosted it there several years, and I told my wife, girlfriend at the time, you know, oh, look, you know, I want to do that. She's like, what do you have to do? It's like, I don't know, I'll just figure it out, you know. And this was back in '98, if I believe. And I did the bodybuilding show there, and I ended up getting second, and it kind of like lit a spark in me, and I kind of just went with it, you know. And I competed for several years. Like I said, I was, you know, I went up to about 2007. My last show was at the USA's, where I ended up getting 10th at the middleweights at that time. I took a little, like I said, a little break because of business. I had a gym, the Ultimate Fitness Center, and that kind of took a big, you know, toll on me, you know, mentally, physically. You know, so I kind of put the bodybuilding aside and kind of got back into it. But I've always admired the dedication and the body transforming. You know, when you put the work into it. And, you know, I've always had that goal to place well at the national level. So I told myself when I came back, it's like, you know, I'm going to give myself 2 years before 40, before 40 to get my pro card. And it worked, it happened, you know. And then they came up with a new division, which was the Classic Physique, which is now height and weight requirements. So it kind of gave me another, you know, venture. Hey, you know what? I can compete as a pro now. Because back then they only had your basic open and 212. You know, even men's physique was barely starting up again, barely started. But I didn't want to do that. So the Classic Physique kind of opened up new doors. So I'm competing as a pro. Did 3 pro shows. Last pro show was last year, 2018, in San Antonio Pro. I got 3rd, and I'm prepping actually for that one this year. So it's kind of it's giving me opportunity to keep competing. You know.
You're what, 10 days out?
We're about a week and a half.
Week and a half out from the San Antonio Pro coming up, right?
Yes, sir.
So what has your prep been like preparing for the show? Because I know you've really been have your eyes on this show, wanting to win it.
I usually, you know, most people always say 12 weeks, but I usually start sometimes 18 weeks out, in the sense of, you know, cleaning up my weekend cheat meals, start adding my cardio slowly. So when I start 14 or 12 weeks out, 14 or 12 weeks out, it's more of a cruise, and that's what I've noticed, that one, helps preserve more muscle, and just makes it easier in the body. You don't have to stress your body out, you know. And I think that the off season right before your show is very critical. You know, maintain a good leanness till then. So
now, competing in bodybuilding, you're always going to be making changes because you're being judged on how you look. You know, whether it's your symmetry, your proportion, your conditioning. Now, from last year, you placing 3rd, what changes are you making to your physique or to your diet or conditioning-wise from last year to this year? Any changes?
Well, the thing is, because of my height, I'm required weight limit is a 185. And last year, I was pretty light. We actually were carving up to the show. So I haven't hit my full max potential for my weight class, you know. Most people are trying to struggle to make that weight, you know, then they're carving up, you know, and I'm not there yet. So I knew I could pack on a good, you know, 5-8 pounds of muscle. So that was more of my off-season improvement season, is try to add more size. And that's the most you can do, is keep adding a little bit here and there. But one thing I wanted to do is keep my lines, keep my small waist, you know, add where I can to give me that illusion, because I figure how wider, bigger back, keep my waist tight, bigger legs, give me that aesthetic look. You know?
For me going through my prep, I really got a chance to, you know, I've always you know, heard people talking about, you know, prepping, the dieting, the training, but it's something that I had never personally experienced. I never had a chance to get down to such a low body fat percentage. So that experience was really unique, and it was tough. It really was. But Jason, I want to ask you, for bodybuilding really is not a joke, right? And a lot of people think that they can come into it, it'll be a breeze. Oh yeah, you know, I'll do this, I already lift or whatever. But you know, what does it really take to be a pro? Like from a you know, a weekend warrior, the guy who goes to the gym and lifts, but then a guy who's a professional, a guy who's won shows. What do you think is the biggest difference for someone who might be interested in pursuing bodybuilding?
I think a lot of it is just having the right mindset first. You know, what is your actual goal? You know, I've had clients where they get into a weight loss and they see their body changing. They're like, oh, I want to step it up and try to do a show. And I'm like, okay, you know, we can do that. And then I've had clients where they're like, they want to achieve the max, and you know, and get a pro card and really work at it. You know, I'm talking about putting in time, you know, into it. It's not just they want to prep for 12 weeks and, you know, do a show. Is how can I improve my physique? You know, that's one thing I think, like, a lot of people don't have the right mindset sometimes. They jump into the gun right away and not understanding it. You know, so when I get a client, sometimes I always let them know, well, let's do a practice prep first. You know, how can you handle, you know, being norm to bodybuilding life, which is a whole different, you know, venue. You know, prepping your meals, sticking to the meal plan, eating your, you know, 5-6 meals a day, doing your cardio, busting your ass in the weights. You know, so it's a plan that you have to stay consistent with it and follow. And I think most people don't follow it at point. You know, like you said, weekend warriors. There's a lot of people that come in and put time in the gym. They do. but they just don't do what's the most important, which is the nutrition and the outside aspect of it to improve the physique. So they're always going to kind of stay where they're at, you know, they don't improve. And as a bodybuilder, our main goal is, what do I need to improve on? How do I improve it? You know, off-season, well, you got to eat more food, but the right stuff. You got to train a certain way, you know, trying to improve that physique, you know.
I want to ask you a question, and this is more related to specifically here in the RGV. So you've been around the fitness industry way longer than I have. I'd say maybe like, what, 20 years or so?
Going
close to that?
18, 19, 20, yeah.
So from, let's say 18, 19 years ago when you first got into the industry till now, what changes have you seen specifically here in the RGV, if any, in relation to bodybuilding and even fitness and the whole aspect of just wanting to be a healthy, well-rounded individual?
It's a lot of new things coming out, you know, like CrossFit's opened up doors, new commercial gyms, you know, open up more doors for people to just kind of just work out. But the industry, or the bodybuilding industry, or people that are more extreme and, you know, want to take it to the next level, it has its ups and downs. There's been times where, you know, it's real popular. You got, you know, a lot of people into it, and then it kind of dies out a little bit, and then comes back up, you know. But the industry itself, you know, has changed in the sense of everybody understands that working out is important, you know, and health-wise. You know, some people choose CrossFit, some people, you know, choose, you know, jiu-jitsu, boxing, but that has opened up a lot of ventures, you know, and businesses, you know, in that health-wise.
Well, why do you think, in regards to just bodybuilding itself, why would you say that the bodybuilding scene here in the RGV isn't as big as it could be?
My personal opinion, I think it's because it's hard as shit. Oh, yeah. It's hard, and nobody really wants to live that lifestyle. Hardcore. It's a 24/7, 365. If you're in that mindset, you know. And I think, like I said, it's a lot of people jump into it, do a show, and they had the worst experience to prep. They didn't have a right coach. They mess up their body physically, emotionally, whatever. They do the show. After the show, they never want to do a show again. They venture off. Then you got some guys that they do a show and they find a spark too, and they want to continue. So it's kind of it's a do or die. I say, like right now, you know, in some people. And then, like I said, there's a couple people that they come into it and their goal is, you know, to reach that pinnacle, which is an IFBB pro. You know, I know recently a girl turned pro in a Bronco figure. You know, and it's like there's other girls that are trying to turn pro, bikini. So I know there's a few that have that mindset that they want to take it to the next level, but I wish there were more people that were into the bodybuilding, you know, lifestyle and competitive.
I want to ask you this question, and I know you have a pretty good answer for this, but how do you feel that, how do you feel has social media impacted, let's say, bodybuilding specifically?
My personal opinion, I have a negative aspect of it, because when I got into bodybuilding, my goal was to be in a magazine. My goal was, you know, to have these sponsors. My goal was, you know, to be in that lifestyle, you know, when I was bodybuilding, you know, in the early 2000s. Now with social media, yes, it's more mainstream. Everybody thinks they're a coach now. Everybody thinks they're a fitness guru. Everybody thinks they're a bodybuilder. Everybody thinks they're a booty building, you know, fitness girl, and it's just gotten so saturated that it's just not how it used to be. You know, now it's everybody has fit, you know, and their name, or you know, coach, you know, or something, you know, and I see that. It has opened the doors and getting more exposure of fitness, but the aspect like that, like there's not many sponsorship no more. Magazines are dead, so it's and if you as an athlete, you got to be out there socially, you know, to kind of get a name out there, to build up a stock. and hopefully you make something out of that, because in the older way where I said, man, I wanted to appear in a magazine, and be sponsored by certain companies. Now it's not there no more, So people keep telling me, well, why do you still do it? Why do you do it? Honestly, man, I love this shit. I love competing, and I'm healthy, and I'm gonna try to do it, as long as I can,
Right. Mind you, you're 43, right?
Yes, sir.
43, man. He looks great. You should see him without a shirt. He looks phenomenal. One thing I want to get into is your coaching. Okay, so I obviously worked with you over the past, from January to July, and I got phenomenal results, and I was absolutely pleased with the service that you provided. And one of the reasons why I wanted to work with you is because you're here locally. I can go, you can go to Instagram and find any coach. You can find millions of coaches all over the world. But I wanted to work with someone who I can tell loves their craft. Someone who's here locally who I can go and talk to, and they can see me. And I enjoyed it. But what is if, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that reach out to you, hey, I'm interested about coaching, hey, and there's a lot of people that they're not really serious about it. They think they are until they really get into it. But then you do have some really, really serious clients as well. So what would you categorize, or can you describe what would be as the perfect client? If someone came to you and says, Jason, tell me what to do, what would be the characteristics of that client that would be the perfect fit for you?
Well, honestly, I think that I don't only do competitive coaching, right, but I've done a lot of transformation, and that's one thing I admire most, is when somebody comes to me and they tell me, I'm fed up with this, I'm tired of this, I don't want to be like this no more, I want to get change, and just tell me what I got to do, and they give me that 110%, and their body is just changing, and then I see them changing. I see them, with a glow. I'm seeing their personality, their smiling, their self, confidence, their self-love. Everything starts raising, and then after the transformation, they're a whole different person. And that to me is like, I touched that person, and I helped that person, and I enjoyed that. I also enjoy the competitive, because I know what it takes, to get there. So when somebody comes to me and they want to do a show, and they give me their 100% and 10%, and we transform, and and we come in with the best physique we can, and I know they did their work and they followed it, I accomplished something also, as a coach, it's a teamwork, and I do provide, the program, but I still I give them the credit, because they got to put the work in. Anybody can tell you, here, follow this, but are you going to do it? And I've had clients within a week or two, hey, when I get a cheat meal, or hey man, it's hard, and I can't be eating this all the time, and I'm like, I don't know how to answer that, because I'm like, that's the lifestyle. If you want to get to that level, that's what we got to do. You got to sacrifice. And that's why I think one of my motto for my coaching is, I didn't say it was going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it in the end, because you're going to come out a whole different ballgame. And when he came to me, you were interested in competing, and I said, well, to be honest, what I tell you first is we need to put a little bit of muscle on.
Right, yeah.
Because, yes, you might weigh a certain weight, but once we drop body fat, how much muscle do you really have? Right. So we did almost like a 3-month clean bulk, add some good size, and maintain a good leanness, and then we went into the 3-month preps, for the show. And the weight wasn't even that much of a difference, but your body was just physically changing, and you build muscle, and you maintain the muscle, and it's just that I felt accomplished, that you felt good, and you were happy with the result, and you put the work in, so
in regards to my prep, I feel like I guess one of the things that made me confident going into my show is that I felt that I did everything like to a T. So I feel like my body was going to look as good as it was going to as it was going to be, you know, my conditioning, diet, you know, my training, everything was on point. You know, workouts were 110%, and I just felt like I did everything. And it's really, it's easy. You feel a lot more. What's the word? It's easier whenever you have a coach. You can trust them. You know, you can trust them, and you can just go and just do all the things. Everything's laid out for you. You just go out there and do it. It really.
And I think you like I said, like social media, there's so many. Everybody wants to be a coach, and you know, they learn a little bit, and then like, you know, I went through. Let me you know, prep somebody now, and then they go and prep somebody, but it doesn't work the same way. It's the knowledge and experience of how the body changes and what you need to do. So having an experienced coach and understanding that aspect, it makes a difference. You know? Everybody, you know, thinks this, you know, it's a simple plan here, just follow the plan and that's it. But why are we following the plan? What's specific on that plan? Why are you doing that? Workouts, you know. And what I do, I give them that 100% with my client. Communication is key, you know. I try to make it, you know, the workouts for what we need to do, the benefit of what we need to achieve. If we're doing a show, you know, the posing. I think the communication is there because there's times where you feel, you know, lost, or you feel like unconfident, man. It's not working. What's going on? But having that, like you said, the coach with an eye and telling you, no, we're good, man. Let's stick with the plan, stick with the process. You know, we make changes a little bit later, you know, and then the body starts adjusting again, you know. Having the right knowledgeable coach, you know, and I try to bring that to the table is for communication from point A to point B. You know, I want to be there through the whole process, you know.
Right. Yeah, and I spoke to some of the guys there at my last show, and they told me, you know, they had hired a coach from, guys that are famous on Instagram, and they're really just disappointed in the results that they got. I mean, because it's just, a lot of it's just, it's not tailored to them. It's kind of, most of it's just cookie cutter, and most of the time it's not even the guy who's actually creating the program. They just got someone else to do it. So it's really important that you choose the right coach. You know, take the time to really you know, ask him questions, figure out, because you're investing in a service that you're hoping is going to help bring you change. So you got to make sure that you really do your due diligence to make sure that you make the right decision. Jason, where can people that are wanting to make a physical transformation, people that are maybe interested in competing, both male and female, how can they find you? You know, where can they contact you?
I've got an Instagram, Jason Martinez _ IFBB Pro. I'm here locally at Mercedes. I got the Grind, the fitness center here. But most of it is, to be honest, it's word by mouth. You know, I help you. Some people are like, hey, man, you look good. How'd you change, or what you did? And then, you know, you refer, you know, another client, and that person comes to me, and you know, so I think that's one of my main avenues of clients is by word of mouth, because they see you change, they see this person change. How'd you do it? Well, this is my coach. Oh man, give me his information, and they give me a call. And then, you know, we meet up and we go from there. You know.
Over the course of my 6 months working with Jason, it was a very interesting experience. Something I've never experienced before. But it was something that I really enjoyed at the same time. As tough as it was, there was something just very. I just love the fact that every week, you know, my body seemed to improve, and especially during prep, it's like every day, you know, I wake up and my body looks a little bit different. I start seeing striations I've never seen before, veins, and you know, I mean, don't feel great all the time, but I just love. I love seeing that improvement, and it's exciting for me, and it's really led me to continue to train and want to continue to do this in the coming years, and see where it takes me. And so what me and Jason are going to be doing is we're going to be looking at doing several shows next year in 2020. Right now I'm just taking time to put on some size, growing, and we're going to start looking at different shows and start lining up, you know, a calendar of what what shows we want to hit, start setting up a plan of how we're going to do them. And I'm really confident now that I have more experience. You know, my body's in much better shape, that I'll be able to transition and grow a lot better going into my next preps. And I'm really excited for it. You know, this is great for me, and it's really taught me a lot about myself, and really helped with my discipline, and taught me a lot about food too, because you know, you don't really having experience, like gone through a prep, training intensely and everything, is going to change your perspective on everything when it comes to towards fitness.
Because everybody fears food, you know. Everybody fears carbs. Everybody fears, oh, you gotta just cut everything, and you know. But it's food is our fuel. We need carbs, and you know, we need the right amount of carbs, the right amount of calories and stuff like that. And I think that's where I play. Like, you know, having the right, you know, coach, you know, adjust from that, you know. And somebody that's never eaten this type of lifestyle, from eating 2 or 3 times a day, trying to adjust to the 5 or 6 meals, I mean, it's a process, you know. You can't have somebody go from norm to this like that, you know. It's a process, so, you know, into it. But once you get into that lifestyle, you know, you, like I said, you understand how food is key, you know, in transforming, either gaining or, you know, muscle, or losing your body fat to trim down. But that's what I like about it, is that you learn, you know, how, you know, because once, say, you ever stop competing, you understand what you need to do if you want to be at a certain level, and continue doing it, or you don't, you know. But it's you learn what food does to the body, you know, and don't be afraid of it, man, you know, and just stay consistent. I think that's the main thing. You know, a lot of people just they get into a program, and right away they want to change it. Right away they think that they deserve a cheat meal or a refeed meal, and they're not so consistent with it that they don't make the right time adjustments, so the body's not going to change right, you know. So I think that, you know, having the knowledge, having a coach that knows that's what helps, you know, to kind of get you to the point faster than when you don't know what you're doing, you know. But I'm excited to see what we're going to do next year, you know, because I mean, for these 6 months that we did, man, you know, we transformed his physique, you know, amazed, and that's it's like, that's what I enjoyed. Is like, man, that was awesome transformation. You know, hopefully you can show it here, the picture transformation, so people can see that, you know, the transformation, you know. And but yeah, I'm excited for next year, you know. So we'll see.
Well, Jason, we appreciate your time. We know you're a very busy guy, and we know that you're right smack in the middle of prep. You know, you're a week and a half out.
August 10th in San Antonio Pro.
Right. And man, we wish you the best, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
And guys, you know, followers, everyone, we appreciate you guys tuning in, and we hope that you learned a thing or two from the only IFBB pro bodybuilder here in the Valley. Great guy. And if you want to reach out to him, we'll put his information down below. Jason Martinez.
Thank you, bro. No problem. Appreciate it. Thank you, sir.